Good evening, happy Saturday, and many thanks for being a part of tonight's broadcast. The news in detail with me, Gloria Mutesi. We begin tonight's edition by informing you that President Paul Kagame chaired a cabinet meeting at Urugwiro village to discuss various issues, including measures to continue the fight against the COVID-19 pandemic. Stay tuned for the latest updates on this on all the RBA social media platforms. Matters, President Paul Kagame has noted that the efforts of those who keep trying to push the country back into a deep pit are proving futile and are foiled by Rwandans because they understand how far the country has come and is going when it comes to development. The president made the remarks while speaking with the opinion leaders from the northern and western provinces on Friday sessionary.
The president spoke to the opinion leaders while at Nyachinama and compared Rwanda to a person trying to pull themselves out of a pit, while others all around are trying to push them back in. The head of state also spoke of the fate of those now living abroad after betraying the trust that was bestowed on them by the country. Regardless of where they decided to go, not one of them is better off than when they were here. Not one. If you know of even one, point them out because it did not go well for a single one. Some were cabinet members, others were military leaders, generals. Now, not even those who left working as drivers here can get a similar job there abroad. President Kagame also commended the role of local residents in different parts of the country when it comes to protecting national security. You know of those living in neighboring countries who took up arms saying they want to topple the government and install their own. Very few such people remain, with all the rest who tried having been sent to the factory we have ready for them. The factory we speak of is the RDF and the National Police. But those institutions are turned to after local communities have already done a lot. The people are the first line of defense and stand up to such elements, with others sent to the institutions afterwards. More than 300 opinion leaders attended the meeting that focused on dealing with hindrances to development, and participants vowed to ensure that the social welfare of communities remains their priority.
Now, a cross-section of residents is concerned about how COVID-19 prevention measures are being neglected and not adhered to as they should be. This is evident in the statistics showing an increase of COVID-19 infections across the country. Across Kigali, starting from outskirts of the city, some residents are seen not wearing face masks in the streets, going about their day. Some of the hand-washing stations have not had water for a while, and those that have water don't have soap, and those that have water are not utilized by people before accessing the buildings.
I only used water to wash my hands before entering the market because there is no soap. There are even times when there is no water at all and people without hand sanitizers just enter the market anyhow.
At a place commonly known as Mutanganas, Nsengiyumva Ernest is in charge of security, and he says that complacency is only a small percentage as they do their best to adhere to the prevention guidelines.
Sometimes the soap is finished together with the sanitizer and we take long to get them, and we have to try and cover it ourselves. As you can see, there is soap over there at the wash stations. When people are here jostling to get places on the buses to go home, you can't control them or tell them not to get too close to each other. For instance, if someone is going to Rusizi from Kigali, all they want is to get home, and we wonder how we are supposed to go about it. As you can see for yourselves over there, people are crowded.
In the bus parks, based on the nature of how some people carry themselves, there's no doubt that some people don't fully adhere to the guidelines.
During the last cabinet meeting, they said 75%, but later we asked Rura and they allowed us to take full capacity. It's not our fault because it's Rura that regulates us and we follow what they tell us.
If you look closely, most cars carry 100% of the passengers instead of the 75% as stipulated in the guidelines. Earlier this month, the number of COVID-19 infections was at an average of 50, and for a week now, the infections have been on the rise, with the recent over 200 cases in one day. Health Minister Dr. Daniel Ngamije says this increase needs to be addressed.
We are closely monitoring the situation to find out how much capacity we have in hospitals to take care of the sick people should the cases continue to increase. We've come here to see how the vaccination program is going because we feel vaccination is a lasting cure. What we are asking the people, especially those that we are vaccinating, is to feel comfortable with the jobs. People are to keep in mind that the pandemic is not going away, because we have not even reached 10% of the people who should be vaccinated. So people should be patient, at least until we've vaccinated up to 50% of those we need to vaccinate. Until then, we can come up with the new resolutions that would be less costly to keep life going.
President Paul Kagame says no one should be complacent in such times as we struggle against this pandemic.
We were on a good path as we had got used to the fight against the pandemic while following all that's required as the science stipulates. We were fortunate and got vaccines, although not enough, but it was a start. And we vaccinated Rwandans. We continue to look for others so that more Rwandans can be vaccinated. But you should as well continue to respect the guidelines and not become reluctant where we shouldn't be. Perhaps we might close up again, which will lead to our economy backsliding. We are seeing what's happening across borders in other countries. There is a third wave of the virus that's coming up. Other countries are already experiencing it, as you have seen in photos and news, and it's not good. We don't wish to go through that, so we must take timely measures. You should understand that we do this for everyone's benefit. We wouldn't wish to do that, but if we don't, we would have it worse.
Health experts say that pandemics have an element of surprise, and just a slight compromise in the measures can see things turn for the worst. All Rwandans are therefore continuously encouraged to properly wear their face masks, wash their hands frequently, and practice social distancing. In other news, energy ministers from Burundi, Tanzania and Rwanda have visited the Rusumo Falls hydroelectric project and assessed that it is now 80% complete. Rwanda's Minister of Infrastructure has given assurances that the dam will be complete by the end of this year.
The project sits on the Rwandan-Tanzanian border, effectively stretching across into both countries, and should have been completed last year. Regardless, the ministers are happy that things are now back on track.
We are very happy and definitely surprised that a good amount of work has been done, and we appreciate really and thank our team that has worked during the very difficult situation of COVID-19 to be able to have reached where they have reached. So just in a nutshell, we want to tell you that we are now at 80% completion, and we are targeting to complete in December. That's the target we have given ourselves, assuming nothing else will come in and surprise us, but that's the target that we are giving ourselves.
Once complete, the dam will produce 80 megawatts that will be shared among the three countries. The electricity that will be produced here will not go to a single area. Rather, our national grid collects from different sources. For example, the 28 megawatts from Nyabarongo and other sources like Mukungwa and even Congo and elsewhere. All that is collected into the system, and even the energy produced here will go to Shango, that serves as a center where all those sources are pooled, and another line will go to the Bugesera International Airport, where it is being constructed, and the rest will go into the general distribution lines to help communities, not a specific area. Implemented by the Nile Equatorial Lakes Subsidiary Action Program and supported by the World and African Development Banks, the project will cost $468 million to complete.
Now, continuing with this broadcast, Kigali city officials have said that the activities of rebuilding the Imbuga City Walk project in Kigali's car-free zone will be finished by this August. As Ghislaine Mugoneza reports, the part that has already been rebuilt is currently actively in use, holding the media photography exhibition.
The activities of rebuilding Imbuga City Walk, which is under Kigali Free Zone project, are still going on. The residents appreciate the fact that Kigali City is rebuilding the place, but have also gathered views regarding the activity. It would be better if they put chairs, a place where you would come and have coffee while with friends. It would be better if they put this as well. There is too much sun right now, so there should be a place to sit even when it is raining or when someone needs a juice. You could find it here. The part that has already been rebuilt is holding the media photography exhibition. Photographers that are in the exhibition have appreciated the fact that they'll be using this place during their working time. This is what I can appreciate. This place wasn't used. It was only a way for pedestrians. Now it has become an exhibition center. This gives value to Kigali City and us as artists. We're grateful to have this place. It's a good thing that Kigali City has thought of this. Not only us photographers, even other artists. It shows that we have a future. Except this you have found us doing. We are planning to hold our own exhibition. Muhirwa Marie Sorange, the Chief of Urban Planning, says that rebuilding this site is in the interest of the business activities and the work has reached at a satisfactory level. We're on 75% of the activities. We're planning that by the end of this month, all activities will come to an end. We built a sitting place, the children's side. We even built a place that holds concerts. We also thought of the covered place. We're putting kiosks and the wireless network. Kigali City is also planning to set up a car-free zone in Remera at the road heads to the bar business location. Gislaine Mugwaneza, reporting for RTV.
Now, this Saturday, a Liberal Party meeting was held in Kigali City. In this meeting that was held at the national level, there was a ratification of the amended laws of this party basing on the constitution and organic law. The participants also looked at the party's contribution to fight against domestic violence. Honorable Donatil Mukabarisa, who is the president of the Liberal Party, has reminded all the members to fight against genocide ideologies. They were also asked to keep respecting the measures in place to fight the spread of the pandemic. Now, at the beginning of this broadcast, we told you that President Paul Kagame chaired a cabinet meeting, and these are the resolutions from that meeting. On Saturday, June 12th, 2021, His Excellency Paul Kagame, the President of the Republic of Rwanda, chaired a cabinet meeting at Urugwiro Village, and the cabinet approved resolutions of the previous meeting held on May 31st, 2021. The cabinet reviewed measures to contain the spread of the COVID-19 pandemic. The following measures will take effect starting June 14th, 2021, and will be reviewed after 2 weeks upon a health assessment. Movements are prohibited between 9 p.m. to 4 a.m. All businesses must close by 8 p.m. Movements between Kigali and other provinces and between districts of the country will continue. Arriving and departing passengers at Kigali International Airport must present a negative COVID-19 PCR test taken within 72 hours before departure and should comply with other health guidelines. Public transport, buses, should not exceed 50% capacity. Bus operators will ensure passengers maintain social distancing, and only passengers with masks will be allowed on board. Motors and bicycles are permitted to carry passengers but must comply with COVID-19 health measures. Physical meetings will continue not exceeding 30% of venue capacity. COVID-19 testing is required for meetings of more than 20 people. Public offices will continue with essential staff at no more than 30% capacity, while other employees continue working from home on a rotational basis. Private businesses will continue with essential staff at no more than 50% capacity, while other employees will continue working from home on a rotational basis. Markets and malls will continue for essential vendors and must not exceed 50% of registered traders. Places of worship adhering to health guidelines will continue to function at a 30% maximum occupancy. Restaurants and cafes shall operate at 30% occupancy limit and shall receive clients until 8 p.m. Individual and non-contact outdoor sports activities will continue and must comply with health preventive measures. Gyms will continue to operate at a 10% of venue capacity and must comply with health preventive measures. The Ministry of Sports will provide detailed guidelines. All swimming pools and spas are closed except for those at hotels hosting tested guests. All bars remain closed. Tourism activities will continue in strict adherence to COVID-19 health guidelines. This includes hotels, tour operators, and transport services facilitating guests. Attendance at a wake or vigil, ichirio, should not exceed 10 persons at any one time, and funeral gatherings should not exceed 30 persons. Civil and religious weddings should not exceed 30 persons, and local authorities have to be informed prior to the event. Any event happening in hotels or public places or gardens should not exceed 30% of the venue's capacity and should follow COVID-19 preventive measures. All participants should have a valid negative COVID-19 test, not exceeding 3 days prior to the event. Social gatherings happening in homes are prohibited. Gaming operators may resume activities gradually upon fulfilling COVID-19 preventive measures. The Ministry of Trade and Industry will provide detailed guidelines. Citizens are reminded of the critical importance of complying with health measures, including physical distancing, wearing face masks, and ensuring hand hygiene. Penalties will be applied for non-compliance. The Cabinet approved the draft law determining the state finances for the 2021-2022 fiscal year. The Cabinet approved the agreements of the appointment of the following ambassadors to represent their countries in the Republic of Rwanda. Mr. Antoine Amfray, Ambassador of France to the Republic of Rwanda with residence in Kigali. Mr. Dragos Viorel Radu Tigo, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Romania in the Republic of Rwanda with residence in Nairobi, Kenya. The Cabinet also made the following appointments. In the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation is Mr. James Gatera, the Ambassador of Rwanda to the State of Israel. Dr. Diane Gashumba, Ambassador of Rwanda to the Kingdom of Sweden. Professor Anastas Shaka, Ambassador of Rwanda to the Republic of Poland. And Mr. Michael Severa, the Minister Counselor in the Embassy of Rwanda to the Kingdom of Netherlands. And in the Rwanda Civil Aviation Authority, Ms. Winnie Ngamije, the Deputy Director General. Any other business discussed, the Minister of Finance and Economic Planning informed the Cabinet that from October 8th to 22nd, 2021, Rwanda will host the 5th edition of the African Microfinance Week at Kigali Convention Center. Done in Kigali on the 12th of June 2021 and signed Dr. Edward Ngirente, the Prime Minister. We now take a short break, but we'll be back with more news. We will leave it at that for today. Thank you for the privilege of your time. Have a great weekend. Of course, not forgetting to remind you to do all that's required of you to stop the spread of the pandemic, because no one is safe until we all are. Otherwise, God bless you and keep you. And until next time, I'm Gloria Mutesi. Bye for now.